Welcome to the Wondercast, the official podcast of the Isle of Wonders Fantasy Festival on Cres. Today we welcome Luke Gygax. The son of Dungeons & Dragons co-creator Gary Gygax, Luke grew up at the gaming table and dedicated his life to honoring the game through play, design, and community. A dungeon master, an award-winning designer, and founder of GaryCon, Luke is someone who carries the spirit of D&D forward with heart and with purpose. We're truly happy to have him here. Welcome, Luke. So happy to have you here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I've had a wonderful time at the Isle of Wonders.
The Isle of Wonders. Yeah, the Isle of Wonders is now officially over. It's been a really big 3 days for us, and we still can't believe you're here, and that you managed to fill our halls and our hearts with your presence, and we're extremely grateful that you managed to come here with your wife Bushra. How did you like Cres? How was it for you?
Well, the island of Cres is beautiful, just naturally beautiful. It's a really nice seaside town, obviously very Mediterranean and European, so that's enjoyable to see. But what I didn't realize is how the whole town really gets involved in the festival. That's what I'm going to call it. It's a festival here.
It's a festival. I call it festival. Yeah. I mean, we do. Yeah.
And just the amazing events that you put on for the opening ceremony was something I haven't ever seen before.
You were so great at the opening. Oh, guys, I wish you could have seen him. Just that end interaction with Tony, with the throwing on the dice and using the tower of Cres as a dice tower. You were really great. I didn't think I had the chance to tell you.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, but no, it was a lot of fun. I mean, we just we had an idea and we just improvised, which is what gamers do, right? What role players
It's D&D.
Yeah, it was. And so it felt very natural and very easy. But what I thought was really wonderful is that you guys had the Kraken out in the water, which was last year's creature, last year's monster.
Yes.
Right? Kraken was last year, or was it dragon was last year?
Dragon was this year?
Dragon was this year, that's right. So I don't know why I doubted myself. So the Kraken's out there, and it was fun. There was tentacles in the fountain too, but the Kraken was out in the port. And then there was aerialists, dancing on, or doing acrobatic moves on the ropes or the silks. There's music playing. There's a lot of people in the streets. There's many people dressed as knights in the town. There's a whole storyline going. And in the video that introduces what's going on, right? And this is the continuation, is the opening ceremony. Yes. It's the part 2. So it's really neat. Vendors everywhere. So it's very fun. And then you have Jed and other people come in on a boat. They row in on a boat, bringing an artifact in, part of the storyline, right? And then the dragon shows up, which is a boat with a big dragon.
It is.
It was really fun. And it's very crowded. Everyone's looking, and there's dramatic music and drums going. And you have the knights, and they bring it in, and yay, we got the artifact. And the knights are marching up to the tower. And then they get attacked, and there's a little battle in the streets. I mean, this was great, right? Yeah. And then we get up to the tower, and you say, hey, whoever played the wizard, by the way, was fantastic.
It's one of members of the association's, Emir, one of the founders. Yeah. Emir Asani, it's his father, Besim.
Okay.
He's the best.
Everybody's like, I would not talk to, he doesn't.
No, he does it really well.
Mean.
He was in the trailer as well, and he's...
He does a great job. But I got a lot of comments on that, and his cosplay was wonderful. And we go, so everybody marches up there, and of course I went up to the top of the tower and did my part. I hid out up there. But just that many people around there, all the fun, just the pageantry and excitement that built. And I don't know how many people were there. Hundreds of people, maybe 1,000. I don't know. We're all gathered around the tower to hear what was going on. And I hadn't felt that energy or seen something like that at another show. So I thought that was really spectacular. And I think that's something special about the Isle of Wonders. So from then on, I knew, this is going to be a little bit different. I
planned on starting this conversation with a different question, but now since we're already chatting about it was very interesting to me just how in detailed you described the opening.
Yes.
Because you are an organizer of a convention as well.
Yes.
So this probably influences your eye when you come to another convention, especially a smaller one, considering you might consider your convention a small. Basically,
Yes.
you are organizing GaryCon. Can
Yes.
you tell us more about GaryCon?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. GaryCon is it's a convention I started in 2009. It came out of a very sad event. My father passed away on March 4th of 2008. And what I wasn't prepared for was the outpouring from so many people I didn't know saying, your dad was like our favorite uncle. We never met him, but he's important to me because, and all the things I talked about role-playing games have done, they help people through tough times. They bring people together. They give them strength. They teach them how to be better in life in a lot of ways. And so that's when I first started realizing that it was more than just a fun game. And some people said that we're going to get in our cars and drive to Lake Geneva, which is not a big city. It's a small town in Wisconsin. And I said, okay, well, we have to do something. The funeral's small and private, so I rented a hall, and my brothers and sisters cooked some food, and we set up a TV, a screen, and played the Dungeons and Dragons cartoons and the Futurama episodes.
The original GaryCon was that's beautiful.
Yeah, so they called that. It turns out we came together and said, play games, play whatever game you want, board games or card games, or play some D&D. If you have a story, we had a microphone. You could come tell your favorite story about my dad, and we played games and we ate food and we shared camaraderie, and that was fun. And so someone said to me, you should do that again. And another person, the guy's name is Jolly Blackburn, who writes Knights of the Dinner Table. It's a comic book about role-playing gamers. They have a convention called GaryCon, and it's based on their character, which is Gary Gygax. It's a cross between my dad, Gary Gygax, and Steve Jackson, American Steve Jackson, the game designer. And they call him Gary Gygax, and GaryCon is their Gen Con. And so I said, okay, and I just spelled it a little different. They make GaryCon one word, I have GaryCon as two words. So that's it. And so next year I just said, I'll throw a party and invite everyone to play games and remember my dad. And I didn't charge any money or organize anything. I just said, show up. So as far as organizing goes, I had to learn a lot. But yeah, people came, about 175 people came, and they wouldn't let me pay for it. So they stopped and had an impromptu auction to raise money. And people brought some things to donate if people, when they came in, say, ask for $20 and give them these books.
And people came from where? Like local people?
Mostly
or
local, but it was most Midwest.
Localish from the area, probably.
Mostly driving that year. People came and drove in. Then from GaryCon 2 onward, which I think I started a website maybe in GaryCon 2. People helped me out, and I was like, okay, I'll charge a small amount of money and make a weekend convention to pay for itself and make it a little bit more organized and have events and guests and things. And we had 240 people, and somebody from Italy came to that GaryCon. So they specifically flew from Italy to come to GaryCon. I was amazed at that, and I was like, okay. And we just had a very special vibe. And so now we're up to about close to 3,500 people, which is as big as we can get in our town.
It makes sense. But in terms of American audience, would that be considered a small, a medium? Or?
Probably medium, on the smaller size of medium, I would think. So Gen Con is 70,000 people. That's very large. And then Origins is about 28,000 people. I think that's on the small end of large. And then you have some conventions that are mid-sized, 10,000, 7,000. And then anything over 3,000, I think, is a medium-sized convention.
Does that spoil you probably go to a lot of conventions.
I do.
Does that influence, being an organizer, how you perceive or?
It does.
It does?
It does, yeah. So when I put GaryCon together, my idea was I wanted it to feel like the conventions I remembered going to my dad with in the 70s, where I could walk up to any table and ask, what are you playing? And they'd say, oh, we're playing this. We are just getting started. Sit down, we'll roll up a character and we'll play. And so I loved that. And I went to other conventions prior to my dad passing away, like in California. I was in the Army at the time, and I was in California. And I remember going to a convention in San Francisco and walking up to a table and going, oh, hey, what are you guys playing? And they just looked at me like, why are you talking to us? Who are you? Why are you talking to us? And they didn't even answer me. They just ignored me after that. And I was like, wow, I felt like that's terrible. Like I didn't feel like it was very welcoming at all. And I ended up going and asking a few people, hey, do you want to sit down and play a game? And I wanted to play test an adventure. And so I got a few people to play. But it was hard. They weren't friendly at all. And I didn't like that. So when I thought of what GaryCon needs to be, I said, there's no there's no paying for an event. Like you buy a badge, you come in, all the events are included. And
Yes.
I want people, if there's an empty chair, come up and sit down and play. And we developed a system where we make flags, like a table, a holder on a table, and you put a green card up if you're willing to take a player, or a red card up if you already started and they can't bring somebody in. So you can just look around and go, oh, that's an open table, I can go play. Now, of course, you can pre-register all your games if you want on, ahead of time. But let's say something happens and you're just like, okay, I have 4 hours or whatever, I want to play a game. Just walk in and look, go play a game, no charge, should be no problem.
That's
no one's going to
beautiful.
ask you for a ticket because it's about gaming. It's about gaming and meeting people and sharing that table. And so for me, that's how I want a convention to be. But that's very specific. A lot of conventions are.
Of course.
are
What is
different.
interesting to me that this might be something that is important to you.
Yeah.
For building a community that is open and accepting and not closed. Yeah. I did notice that players usually play their campaign with their friends. Mm-hmm. They're closed campaigns, very hermetic.
Yes.
And they're not used to opening up. It takes some time for them to really, an effort to open up, to play one-shots perhaps on conventions or with associations, or to try something new with another group, or even to just meet up and talk about D&D. And they love it. Eventually, I noticed they really do enjoy talking about their favorite game and their worlds and adventures and everything, and how other people do it. Mm-hmm. But usually they're very closed and even almost scared to let somebody in, because it is a private moment, an intimate moment. And have you noticed, considering, I want to come back to the patient zero, how you referred yourself, which was really like a wow moment in this convention for me. But considering you are a patient, how would you describe the growth of the community from the start? How did it develop, and the evolution of the D&D community?
Well, from my perspective, I've been playing as long as I can remember, so I don't remember not playing D&D, because my dad wrote D&D when I was 2, and so I started playing when I was 4, so I was always seeing or participating in gaming. So for me, it was very normal to go up to lots of different tables and play D&D with lots of people, so I never questioned that. And I guess, even as a child, I'd play with young adults and adults all the time, so I don't have a particular, I'm not shy about that, so I have not much of a problem being speaking in public or in small groups. And I've realized other people sometimes do have that, and I had the experience of doing it as a kid and learning how to do it, so it's just my advantage. And the community has changed a bit, and I would say it was very heavily male. It was mostly men, and it tended to be men who were more intellectual, more nerdy than not. And then as it grew, I think more and more people were introduced to it. And of course, there's exceptions. There was women who
just
were
like
but the core
broad stroke of it.
Mm-hmm. Generalizing. And I think it was really, as we moved into the 80s, there was something called the Satanic Panic that brought a lot of attention to it, and that was kind of associated. I think it was mostly boys who were playing that too, because it was kind of heavy metal and Dungeons and Dragons are
Makes
dangerous.
Sense. Not just D&D.
Right. Mm-hmm. And there were, now that as I've gotten older and I've run D&D at many conventions, I've had several women my age talk to me and go, oh yeah, we had an all-girls group. We just didn't like hanging out around the boys because, they were young boys. We didn't want to
Makes
hang
sense,
out with them.
yeah.
Right, yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I can understand. I was a young boy. I get it. I wouldn't want to hang around with either, now that I understand. And other reasons, like maybe they didn't like some of the artwork, made them feel not welcome because it was women in chainmail bikinis or something like that. And they didn't identify with it. But now, I think, especially in the 90s and with the introduction of magic cards and people who started playing D in the 70s and early 80s now becoming creators and book writers and game designers and screenwriters, fantasy has insinuated itself in video games, of course.
Yes.
It's insinuated itself throughout not only the United States, but all across the world. And everybody understands leveling up and in character classes and armor class and
Right,
doing
it's part of
damage.
the culture in many ways.
And all those were new things in 1974 when Dungeons and Dragons was published. 50 years later,
The common knowledge.
it's normal. Yeah,
Yes.
it's like no big deal. But it really was a revolutionary thing. So I think in the 90s especially, I think it exploded into young people and all genders, and they dipped down a little bit, but really with the 5th edition and Hasbro acquiring Dungeons and Dragons, they did a wonderful job of marketing it and had the good fortune of some very talented voice actors in Critical Role, bringing a lot of people in there and demystifying Dungeons and Dragons. YouTube or videos are very important because D&D books are thick and kind of scary, right? I have to read 300 pages?
I don't read them. I'm sorry. I probably should not tell it to Luke Gygax at my podcast. But yeah, they're really overwhelming. And the phrasing is, I don't seem to understand very well often. Like the new edition helped me. But yeah, I think that the language also grew with the additions for people like me who had this kind of little wall.
Yeah. So that's fine. I don't read them either, just so you know.
Okay.
So I just read the parts I need to read. But I just watch and listen and figure it out, which is much more natural. And I think what people realize is, oh, this isn't like something very difficult. It's pretty natural. Everybody plays pretend. There's just a little couple rules around playing pretend, and you get to roll dice, which is also fun, to see if you succeed or not. And that's it. On the language part, yes, when my dad was writing, he loved the English language, and he said words have meaning, and he would try to find the word that had the closest meaning to something, and he liked to use big college words or words that weren't often used and bring them back into language.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Yeah, like when we're crafting and stuff like that. So he liked obscure words, and so I've heard people refer to that as writing in high Gygaxian. So I think that's
High
kind of
Gygaxian. I love it.
Yeah. It's not the easiest to read, but now but he wanted to write to people and challenge them to get out a thesaurus and look up a word if they don't know it and expand their vocabulary.
It goes well with the
beautiful.
theme of the fantasy and just like, pushing the language as well.
Yes.
It is important.
Yeah.
So when you and your wife Bushra came here, you really talked about how you play as a family, and considering you're the patient zero or your dad taught you Dungeons and Dragons from such early stage, and you played your whole life with your family first.
Yes.
How it is to be taught by your dad and then be the dad who is teaching his children, his daughters, the game as well?
It was a lot of fun to teach my oldest daughter how to play, although I think I tried that she was so young that it was hard because she wasn't really reading or anything yet either. But she was very excited. So she liked to roll dice and she liked the stories. And
Dicing is fun for kids.
And she liked the idea of killing the monsters and getting treasure, and that was a lot of fun for her. So she was very action oriented. And then as my other two daughters got older and I introduced them to it, the middle one was very interested in animals. And so what I learned, and then the younger one really was just there because her sisters were there more or less. She was like 6 or something. And so we had Miriam's the eldest, and she played a Minotaur Paladin. So big and tough and kicking butt, right?
Yes.
And then Amira, who was my middle daughter, she wanted to be a dragon princess. I said, what do you want to be? She's like, well, I want to be a dragon princess.
A princess class.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I was like, okay.
I would totally play that.
I said, well, that's not a species, it's not a race. So she said she wanted to be an elf. So she was an elf who had some dragon blood intermixed in there. And so I would give her a few little abilities that she could do that were dragon-like. And she was nobility, so she was a princess. So that worked for her. And then my youngest she was like, well, what races are there? So I was reading down the name, Aarakocra, whatever, all AV. I got to bugbear. And she said, bugbear? I want to be a bugbear because bugbears sound cute.
They do.
They sound so cute, but...
They do. They're not...
But they're not cute.
They're not cute.
I was like, okay, you want to be a bugbear? And so I decided that her and Amira Aaliyah were going to be... so she was Serena and Aaliyah. Serena elf friend, because her, I guess, Alia Silverthorn's parents had cleaned out a community of bugbears, or raiding bugbears, right? But there was this little bugbear baby, and so they brought it
and
home
it's
and raised
cute.
it, and it's cute, right? And they raised it as in their community, and so that was her friend. So they were friends. So even though she was a bugbear, she was really raised with elves. So
Makes sense.
Yeah. So those were the characters, and so it's kind of weird. They're going around here. You got a minotaur, an elf, and a bugbear traveling together.
A different point of view and different style of playing with new gamers. It happens.
It was. So I was
fresh,
like, okay.
fresh insert of creativity.
And I remember I was starting them off on a little adventure, and it's challenging with kids because two of them want to play, one of them doesn't, or and they want to be doing different things. But I remember, okay, great, you're going to visit your uncle. He's on a farm, whatever the thing was. Oh no, you come to the farm. There's smoke on the horizon. What's going on? Oh my gosh, it's on fire! And you're coming up closer, and you see, it looks like something has happened. There's sheep the sheep have been killed in the field or whatever, and they're like, what? The sheep are hurt. Go to find it. I was like, this was just a.
Yeah, you walked right into that one.
I did. And then they had this, okay, can we save the sheep? And I'm like, okay, yes, we can save the sheep. So playing with children, you just have to, realize it's very different than playing with grown-ups. And I also learned that since I had been playing forever, I don't realize that not everything I think everything's natural and everybody knows it. That's not true. I just happen to have 50 years of experience playing role-playing games. They had none. So there's things I just had to explain and go, oh, okay, yes, I guess you're not born knowing this, so I'd have to explain to them. So it just shows you can know something.
Do you still have these challenges when you're playing with somebody, like on a convention like you did on Isle of Wonders, this moment of just this deep immersion of growing up, being formed by D&D and knowing stuff from, it's like that since forever, and people are not really that familiar with the terminology or the rules or whatever paradigms within the game.
Yeah, if I know someone's a new player or they say, oh, I'm not familiar with it, or oftentimes at a convention, I'll be like, let's not worry about the rule. If I don't get something right, it's okay to bring it up, or if you don't know, we can ask, and I just give them permission to ask. Whereas I think with children, they just want to play, right? So it's probably better to use the rule of cool, or just, this is what you roll, and just tell them how to do it, and then explain it as they get a little bit older. I think maybe by the time most children are 12, I would say they're all ready for it, and some may be ready at 10 to learn. So you just have to kind of gear your adventures around the age of the children and go from there. But it's a wonderful way to bond with your children and have fun and fire up their imaginations. Because honestly, I was talking to at Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia. I was talking to I was on a panel with a couple psychologists, school counselors, and they were telling me how children's imaginations are really underdeveloped due to looking at video games all the time, where everything is scripted for them. They aren't creating on their own. They're following somebody else's
It's a very complex problem. One that we do talk about even on Isle of Wonders, because it's a fantasy festival on the island, and we kind of want to take kids away from the screens. Yeah. And we talked with, we have this beautiful artist, Vesna here, who says she works with children who have to hold the needle or scissors while cutting the wool. And they're underdeveloped, and they don't know how to hold it or cut it when they should. And apparently, it's connected to the. I've heard. I'm not an expert, but it might be connected to the verbal parts as well, because it all develops simultaneously. So, their kids are struggling. Yeah. So imagine if the worlds are really important to.
And so spending some time gaming with your children and maybe the neighbor kids, or volunteering and teaching, running D&D or another RPG at the local shop for young people it's really a helpful thing to do. And you're bringing people together and getting them to exercise skills they might not normally exercise. They'll give them an advantage in life. So
beautiful. Luke, was there, considering that you had this whole life of D&D. Was there ever a period of time where you didn't play or didn't even want to play?
No.
Really?
No, I've always played D&D. I mean, there's times where I go a month or two without playing, but that was more of an exception to the rule than even when I was.
So it was a continuous passion for it.
Yeah, it's just
Beautiful.
something that I've always done. So it's my primary way of making friends when I was new in an area. It's an easy way to connect with people.
So basically a form of
it.
communication.
It is.
It is, not just for you, I think it's for a lot of, but yeah, never.
Yes. Yeah, I share that with, I think, a lot of gamers. When I was here talking to some young people who are especially enthusiastic.
Yeah, we have a group from the association who is young and very good.
Yeah, and they shared with me, well, 2 years ago I felt very alone, and I didn't know, I didn't have anyone to talk to, and then through this game I found some friends, and now I feel like I belong to a group, and I feel very happy, and oh my gosh, this has done so much for me.
It's huge.
It is, and it's essentially helped them figure out how to talk to people, open up, and form some friendships, which we all need, right? Because we're social creatures. That's why we love stories and storytelling, right? Because it's important to us, and it talks to us about our values and our folklore and what we want to aspire to.
Yeah, and we want to feel that and experience that together. We really crave that on a deep level, and D&D offers us. Thank you, Luke, for being a part of this for 50 years, for shaping the story and the narrative, and just like grooming this place where we can really be ourselves and be ourselves with other people who are themselves. I think that's the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place that you really helped build in the world, and I want to thank you.
Well, I appreciate it, and yeah, I am very honored to be able to carry forward my father's legacy. It's something that, like I said, I realized more after he passed away how
Makes
important
sense.
it was, and I just don't want he's changed the world, and I said to myself, well, I don't want people to forget who my father is.
You also changed the world.
Well, thank you.
I think so. For the end, I do have a short question here for you.
Okay.
A game, a play. We
Okay.
don't roll dice though.
Okay.
Unless we can't roll this, I think.
This is a little bit-
Okay.
And it's too pretty. It's got drawings on it.
This or that?
Okay.
Books or movies?
I'm going to say movies, even though because I listen to audiobooks and I watch movies more.
Audiobooks.
Yeah.
I love audiobooks,
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, dragons or heroes?
Heroes. I see dragons as an interesting foe, but I don't think of them. And there's
They're very intelligent.
There could be good dragons, and they're intelligent. And when you're playing one or scribing one or writing about one, you need to take that into account. Something that lives hundreds or thousands of years has
Very devious.
Yeah, very devious. Has a great intelligence. That's hard to do. You got to do it right. Heroes. Really, we're supposed to identify with heroes oftentimes, right? Well, if they're the protagonist, right? So hopefully I identify with the heroes more than a dragon.
Yeah, for sure. What class do you like to play most or identify with most? Or race class?
Spellcasters, probably, yeah. So, because Melf was my character and he was
Makes sense, yeah.
fighter magic user, because I was solo adventuring, right? So what do you need? Got to be able to smack stuff and throw spells, right? So that was cool. So I like that. So in like 5th edition D&D, the wizard, I think, class is more where I'm at.
Roll for initiative or talk your way out?
Roll for initiative.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Luke, for joining us, for being such a beautiful guest on A Little Light, and really hope you come back.
Yeah, it was really my pleasure. So, and you guys have a very wonderful event, and thank you for inviting me. I truly enjoyed it.
Thank you. We appreciate it.